Thank you, Hélène. Thank you to everyone who's been putting this beautiful event on. I know it's chaotic. We have to deal with technology and people and traffic. I'm just really grateful that, 30 plus women gathered in the room today. I thought this was a good use of their Tuesday night. Like, that is genuinely something. Getting emotional about it. I think this is one of the greatest privileges we forget. And beyond the presentation privilege, the fact that we get to wake up every single day and choose to keep showing up. So I'm grateful that you chose to keep showing up. I'm really grateful that those of you who have chosen to show up in spite of how many spoons you may have had when you woke up this morning, that you all came to listen to this today. My presentation is on having it all without doing it all, redefining ambition. Most of us were sold on this promise that you can have it all. One woman, everything, right? All things. But there's this little caveat that presupposes that we know all too well, that in order for you to have it all, you must be the one doing it all. And usually by yourself. And usually with too few spoons. Too few resources. And I've had friends ask me before, well, Hélène, how do you have it all? The truth of the matter is I don't. I don't have it all. But I have everything I want. So the first thing I want to dissuade you from in redefining ambition is verifying, are the things you're chasing, are these things that you're pursuing for the sake of ambition, things that you actually want? Most of us will burn ourselves out in the pursuit of a definition of success that no longer suits the lifestyle we're currently living. We're chasing a vision board that maybe we made 2 months ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago. You're a different person today. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from this very evening, it's go home and ask yourself, first and foremost, what am I holding? Right? And are the things that I'm holding things that actually matter to me? One of my favorite analogies when we talk about, how much we're balancing in our life is to think of all the things that we're juggling, our priorities. View those things that you're juggling in life as either balls made of glass or made of plastic. The glass balls are your priorities, the things that matter to you, that if you were to drop them, they would shatter. The plastic ones, if you drop them, no harm, no foul. I encourage you to drop those plastic balls today. See who else picks them up. If nobody else picks up those plastic balls, they were not yours to carry alone. They weren't important enough to you to keep them precious like glass. So drop the plastic balls. Beyond what are you holding? My next question for you is, what is holding you back? And I mean this in 2 different ways. The first, what is keeping you from pursuing what you actually want, what your deepest desires may be? What society may be conditioned you is too much for you to seek out. And you might say, well, Hélène, I have hobbies that I want to pursue. I have a relationship that I'm dreaming of. I have a new place I want to move to, a new job. I'm pretty sure that next promotion is really going to change my relationship to my career. And I'm definitely not going to do those patterns I had of over-delivering and giving too much to my boss until I burn out. Definitely not doing that again. I've lived that experience too. But I would challenge you that what is holding you back is not your schedule. It's not time management. You don't need more time. You don't even need more energy. What's holding you back are these tethers you have to the identity that you're conditioned to create around how much you do and what you produce, and how that is tethered to your work, how that is tethered to your self-worth, how you derive your entire identity based on what you can accomplish, what you can achieve, what you can produce for the society, how many children you can have, and at how long, how many degrees can you earn. Those are the things that we get to be proud of, but if you start tethering too much of our sense of self-worth to it, that's where it becomes dangerous. And that was the pit I fell into. I had 2 bachelor's degrees, an MBA, owned a condo in LA, a really cute dog named Archer. I still have him. He's adorable. Barked all day. I had a boyfriend, had a great social life, swing dancing 7 nights a week. And then COVID came. I think some of us remember that. And suddenly, I had gone through a relationship breakup, a friendship breakup. And my life felt like it was falling very flat, not completely apart, right at the edges, very dull. And this is what I would this is what I really want to impart to you. So I actually think there's something worse than just burning out. And that's realizing all this life, all this effort they've put into your life has left you feeling bored. Worse than burnt out. Bored in this one wild and precious life that we get to live, and you maybe so choose. And so, without this boyfriend, without this friend, middle of COVID, I'm left asking myself one question. Who's gonna watch my dog? Because at that point, I had built a resume, but I hadn't built a village. And I'd known how to achieve and accomplish and hold a lot on my plate and do really well at it. Really well. But I didn't have anyone to call when I needed someone to watch my dog for a year, because I'd just been tasked with a year-long deployment to Qatar. You may have heard about this country in the news recently, unfortunately. And so that moment made me realize it wasn't about what I was holding, so why I was chasing it in the first place. Eventually, I get to Qatar, ask a coworker to watch my dog, and I make a single decision. I'm gonna make this the most fun, pleasurable year of my life. Because if I was going to spend an entire year surrounded by 50 shades of beige, if you've ever been to the desert, all the buildings are beige, the sand is beige, everything is as beige as can be, it's deeply depressing. I'm going to wear whatever I want. I'm going to dress in things that make me happy and feel like who I am and myself. I'm going to self-express. I'm going to ask for what I want at all times. I'm going to use my voice, as we've all learned to do so. And I'm going to let pleasure lead the way. So I literally wore this outfit in the desert for a year, a version of this outfit. Lots of vintage dresses, big hats, and I became known as that girl. And I didn't do it to be known or to be perceived that way. I did it because I didn't want to forget and sacrifice my identity to a system that didn't have my best interest at heart anyway. They didn't care as long as I showed up and did my work, did my job. But I wasn't going to let the years slip by and let it be something that I had sacrificed to a different mission, other than me enjoying my more precious life. And it rippled out. That choice of self-expression, of choosing my own pleasure, inspired other people to start making some changes of their own, start having a little bit more fun and taking themselves a little less seriously. Because in pursuit of this ambition, it wasn't just about redefining my life around pleasure. It was shifting from discipline to devotion, about deciding that rather than forcing myself to do things that I was expected to do, to tethering my identity to worth and what society expected me to take on from a responsibility perspective, to tethering my worth instead to devoting myself to the version of myself that I could be proud of every single day. And through this art of devotion, of loving myself every day rather than beating myself up through shame, I was able to come to a place where I deeply enjoyed a much more fulfilling life that is not only more pleasurable, allows me to have the impact I want to have, but is significantly more sustainable. Because not only do I not burn out, I guarantee that all the things I accumulate and chase are things I actually want to have. So you don't have to do it all in order to have it all. You just have to know what you want. What are you holding? Let go of the things that are not yours to carry. What is holding you back? What part of your identity do you fear letting go of if you were to actually ask for help, be vulnerable, say no, let yourself be seen to have the impact you want to have? Put your pleasure first as a priority and let it be the fuel that guides your productivity. Once you know what those two things, ask yourself, what could be holding you in return? What could be supporting you? What systems of support can you set up for yourself so that this pleasure is not just personal, but becomes something communal? I now live a very privileged existence where I get to wake up every day, live with my grandmother, who is currently watching my dog, so that can circle. And I now have a beautiful community that on 3 days' notice showed up for a birthday party 3 months ago. Wellness room, thank you so much. And I didn't think anyone would come. And I put out this call out and say, hey, I just bought a house. Come into an empty house, bring your own chair, and please come celebrate with me. And I thought only 3 or 4 people would come. And I was very discerning about who I invited. There was one rule. You had to know that my mom was dead. Which sounds morbid, but if you think about how that tightens your circle, not everyone knows all that information, right? You talked about how what disabilities we have and how we create vulnerability and connection. And so through that discerning panel, I invited everyone who knew that in Cleveland, a community I've only been in for 2 years. 27 people came. It's huge. I probably cried for 3 hours that night, tears of joy. And I came so far from that girl 5 years ago, couldn't find anyone to watch her dog. And so I'd like to impart with you this notion that ambition doesn't have to be looking ahead, what's outside of you for the joy that you're seeking today. There's a very good chance that joy is staring right in your face, right in the mirror, right in the friend sitting next to you. And if you need anyone to watch your dog, thank you.